Hey everyone, it's me, Patchdown Bogad. It's good to have you here. I'm actually quite excited by actually making this video, and the reason being is that this is the second video of the series of the Sorath ritual that I've done, and it was very well done. And what I mean by that is when I went ahead and I did that ritual, it was nothing but positive reactions from it. I mean, what I mean by that is it's interesting that a lot of people have their own viewpoint of Sorath, especially online and social media, how he's a daemon that people want to stay away from, but yet that's not the experience that I had. In fact, it's a very well established relationship that I have with Sorath. This isn't the first time that I actually spoken to Sorath. And that's why I believe I have a really good positive reaction from Sorath himself. Now, I thought was interesting is that according to the Vodun magic system, and this is me doing research based off of what a lot of demonologists are saying, Sorath is actually a really good daemon to work with, especially when it comes to this Vodon magic system, because it also mentions two other daemons like Klonek and Beelzebub, and they supposedly work alongside with Sorath in that particular magic system. And the reason why I'm bringing that up as well, I thought it was interesting that those three particular daemons are, well, practically my guardians. And if I connect that with the Vodon um, magic system, it just kind of finds it to be, well, too much of a coincidence, if you get what I'm trying to say. I mean, I know this is the occult, and we hear a lot of woo within this circle, this community, but that's a bit far fetched, even for me. But yet, due to a lot of my research, especially by J.K. Jehannum, he actually done a lot of good work with Become a Living God, with E.A. Coetting, and looking at his article that he has written on WordPress, it actually validates what I'm saying. I mean, after all, based off of the knowledge that I'm giving you about Sorath, well, it's by him anyway. So I want to thank him for the information and his hard work so that I'm able to come to you and edify you with the best knowledge possible that I've gained by this second ritual that I've done with Sorath. Hell, with this ritual, I like to tell you, I've even given Sorath a food offering. That's the first time I've ever even did that. I'm not really too big on food offerings, but I did it this time only because that I wanted him to really help me in my magical arts. Now, what precisely did I call Sorath for? Well, even though I already have a friendship with him, something that's already established with him, and I worked with him already, it's mainly that I wanted him to assist me in my black magic because you see, if you know a thing or two about Sorath, he's actually very keen on black magic. Hell, he's not for the faint of heart. But of course, you need to see that for yourself, and then as you do that, you're going to see, you know, what other people are saying, and then you put your own personal experiences, and then you put it together, and then you can see where that comes in to play. That's if you just want to, but of course, that's something that you have to do because I'm not too big on the bandwagon fallacy, and I'm pretty sure I don't need to explain what that means. But henceforth, when I look at this video, he's not exactly what people say. It's just a bunch of morons, retards that pretty much want to circulate a lot of gossip about a very interesting being that is worthwhile to work with. Hell, I remember the very second day when I finished that ritual, which was just yesterday. I kid you not. I was sick the entire day. That's why I couldn't even make a follow up video because I was sick. And I recalled that when I did the ritual, I asked Sorath not only to work with me within the black arts, but to assist because it's Beelzebub that I actually work with mainly when it comes to the black arts or black magic. But interestingly, Beelzebub, he's actually a cleanser. He's someone that deals with decomposition, the dead, and no wonder that when I felt sick, it was a purification. Throughout the whole fucking day, I was fucking sick. And I mean sick. To a point where I couldn't even stand living. Talk about purification. Talk about a refinement to the fullest. Either he did that to get my path working set up for Sorath so that he could basically work with me, that I wouldn't know. But I do know that by working with Beelzebub, he is constantly refining me, cleansing me, so that I could be a better black magician, so I could be a lot more open to a lot more better evolved magic. So when I look at Sorath and I'm seeing how things are as of yet, man, today was not a really good day. And what I mean by not a really good day is not so much because of Sorath. I mean, it is, but it's not. And what I mean by that is Sorath ID. Sorath basically works with the ID part of the mind. I kind of alluded to it, jumped ahead, but he works with the ID part of our minds. And there are three parts of it. You have the ID, you have the ego, you have the super ego. The super ego is basically about morals, about right and wrong. The ego, think of that as the mediator. Think of that as something that's like the balancer of both the superego and the ID part. The ID part of your mind is more instinctual, right? It's more fantastical. It's wishful in thinking in nature. So, in other words, I have not done this in a long time. And what I mean by this is I did not plan on thinking too much about my main manifestation or my spell of prosperity because the amount of prosperity that I ask for is definitely life changing. And those who are on the left hand path for a very, very long time, you realize that it's not a low level magic when you're really asking for that level of prosperity and it's really, really big. In other words, it takes many, many years. I mean, for crying out loud, 4 to 5 years, and I'm still working on it. So, in other words, when you think about the ID part of the mind that Sorath actually works with, right? I have put behind me the very notion of uh, the spell of prosperity because we all know as black magicians or occultists that when you do something like that, you have to put it behind you so that you could focus on your everyday needs and wants and perhaps even other magic spells. Because when you are obsessed, what happens? Well, you cause resistance, right? And that's not how a man or a woman builds their empire. In fact, it's the exact opposite. You let it be, you put it in the hidden part of your memory, the subconscious, so to speak, and you just go ahead in your life. We're not saying that you forget about it, you think of it not being real, but you just move on in your life, right? But boy, today, Sorath, he knew exactly what to do. He went to the part of my mind, that's the ID part, and he brought that hidden memory and he brought it to the surface. And here I am, I'm thinking about, well, my manifestation, the spell of prosperity, and I'm twisting and tossing in my bed, and I'm thinking like in a multi-faceted way, like why am I thinking about something that I have not been thinking about for years? I mean, I had to do nothing but void meditation, a lot of focus on not focusing on something that could get any man or woman very giddy, very happy, enthusiastic. But yet, we all know as black magicians that once you tend to be that way, you allow all that happiness to get to the head, well, it ends up getting too big. That's the head, that is, right? The ego. So it's best to, again, leave it alone. And I just said to myself, oh my goodness. It kind of reminds me of what I said. Yet again, this is me referring back to the pack of Sorath. I simply told him that if he just so wanted to, he could take over my mind as far as the ID part of my mind is concerned, so he can make needed changes in my life. Hence, it validates me being sick yesterday through Beelzebub, and then today, um, going through the whole upheaval of just pure emotions, mostly negative, and I'm trying to balance it all out as I'm trying to get some sleep. But at the same time, it's like I'm not complaining. It's something that I did ask Sorath to actually do, but as I'm looking at the information that was hidden within my memory in the subconscious part of my mind, I was able to look at it in a pragmatic point of view. So it was very instinctual. It wasn't really prone to be rationalized in any way. But I knew why it was happening, is my point. But that's, if there's anything negative about it, that's about it that I could walk away from, with Sorath, working with him. But other than that, that's not that big of a deal. I mean, yeah, fine. I was sick as a dog just yesterday, even though I thought it was like the coronavirus. But you know how that goes. It's just um, something that's popular. You know, it's out there, so now I think I have it, but it's not because I wasn't outside that day, nor was I in a situation where I could have been sick. So I kept on deducing to only find out that it definitely was Beelzebub, because not everyone will get sick by working with Beelzebub, but it is a known fact, few in number, like myself, that if you do work with Beelzebub, he does that as a cleansing. It should be embraced, not feared, but just go through it. And I forgot to mention, and I don't want to fail to mention as I end this video, is it was so interesting that when I did the invocation of Sorath, um, what ended up happening was that the day before me making the video, what ended up happening was that I had strong gut intuition. I mean, a very, very strong pull. I mean, we know how that is, right? It's like if I were to grab you by the shoulders and bring you closer to me. That's how strong, like, that feeling was by working with Sorath, or just at least implanting the idea in my mind. I'm like, I have time off. I always wanted to work with Sorath at that capacity where he's within the ID part of my mind, or the God part of my mind, and he's really getting rid of everything that is really of refuse within my mind, so that I could be a better use to Satan and of his as well. So there's no better time but the present, right? So I did it. But I thought it was interesting, like, why so randomly, why so arbitrarily that was thinking about that. Well, again, it's the left hand path, so nothing is really random. Even though the situation itself, it had its purpose to it. So that's why it led me to the first day of that ritual of making that video. And it was so bizarre, you know what I mean? And I felt relieved because the day I made the ritual wasn't yesterday, but the day before yesterday, which would be a Sunday. And of course, I followed the moon void course, its schedule, and the planetary alignment. And that was actually really nice because, of course, when you summon Sorath, you gotta go to the north. Well, north would be in this direction, as I'm pointing in this video, in my apartment. So, this is north over here, and towards this painting, and I did the ritual, and afterwards, what ended up happening was, perhaps I sound like a broken record, guys, but I'm sorry. It's so much information that I have to put out there, uh, but I have to make sure that it's accurate, and I don't feel as if like I'm babbling on, and make sure it's done in a structural way. But what I'm trying to say here is, next up is, right after I finished doing the ritual, right? What ended up happening is that I had a massive surge, a positive feeling, which is good for me, because that means that the ritual was a okay. And mind you, this was way before, obviously, yesterday when I was sick. So, the day of the ritual. So I felt very positive and I felt really good, obviously. And it was about, well, the main pact that I have with the spell of prosperity. But I thought that was interesting because when I think about my particular pact with Sorath, I was asking him to be a part of my team. That's me, that's myself, Satan, Beelzebub, and Clornak. And if he wanted to be a guardian of mine, he can too. Obviously, he agreed due to the positivity, because I didn't ask for much within that ritual, because I was mainly asking him to assist me in black magic. But the fact that he took it upon himself to enter the ID part of my mind, the fantastical part of it, the instinctual part of it, and bring up that want, that desire of prosperity, it was really intense. And mind you, it was something that I put away in the recesses of my mind. And like the sun, it was radiating. You know what I mean? It was really radiating, and it made me feel more than okay. I felt as if I re-entered Satanism for the first time, and I had plenty to think, not just Sorath, but Satan. I mean, I felt positive throughout the whole entire day. Hence, I said I felt like the sun. I was just radiating with positivity. But of course, then the following, I just got completely demolished by a sickness because I had to been purified, if you will. And then here I am, due to accountability, due to responsibility. This is what I love to do, and I love to make videos for you guys. And I don't want to keep on continue on to make this video too long, but I wanted to keep you updated is all when it comes to day 2 of the ritual, even though it's been a day and a half. But I'm pretty sure you understand, because I'm not going to come on this webcam on YouTube or runny nose and sick as a dog. But thank you. I hope this experience that I've given you was something that you friends could learn, and you could pretty much take it from there and see if you want to work with him as well. Sorath is a very beautiful demonic dark lord to work with, and I'm going to recommend him to all you friends if you want to. um, in closing, as always, if you want to subscribe to my channel, please do so. And also, please smash that like button as well. Thank you so much, and you all have a great day. Bye. And better yet, see you soon.